Good evening. Welcome, everyone. We are going to have a 30-minute trade findings and adjustments because we want to basically we want to see the debate. That's what it's going to come down to. This one was an odd time. I apologize. I was trying to adjust the times based on my schedule. It looks like I had the wrong time for 10 this morning. I really was trying to push it till 6:30 tonight for a half hour before the debates at 7 my time. But let me get started. Let's talk about our trade findings and adjustments. I'm going to start off helping you understand what's going on in our markets. I love this article from Jim Cramer. Pretty simple, pretty easy to understand. As I look at it, it's like, oh my gosh, thank goodness we are out of September. There's going to be a but to it, but the short answer is, but the first thing he says, we finally kissing the month of September goodbye, but I don't know if October will be much better. Doubt it could be much worse. And in all honesty, if I was to ask you guys, what could make October better than September? If I was to ask you guys, what would you be able to tell me to say, hey, what could make October better than September? I think there's one and only one thing, yet I don't think it matters pre-election. But give me a shot. Give me a shot. What do you think can make October better than September? William, you're killing me, but I love it. William just made the comment. He said a Trump win, but that's in November. That doesn't help us out for October. And Maud, looks like you just came in. Maud, you able to hear me? Everything going okay? I had to apologize. I made a mistake in the way I scheduled everything. But this trade findings and adjustments is dedicated to Maud because the other day she said, well, what will you do with money? And I said nothing, and I thought about that and realized that's probably not the correct answer. So I'm going to adjust that, Maud, and give you a better answer than I did yesterday or last week whenever you asked that. Okay, so what could make an October better than September? William, it's not a Trump winning the election because that's in November, but your second answer was correct. And I think what you're trying to say is stimulus, right? Over here in America, we call it stimulus. Pelosi has made an opportunity to create a $2.2 trillion package. The House will vote on it. And then basically they're going to say, hey, it's up to you guys to pass it because we're going to go campaigning. If Trump and the Republicans were smart, they'd pass it. They'd pass it, they'd get it through, they'd help out the American people. It would be a great political move, which is disgusting that we're at that point. But it's stimulus. Stimulus could give us a boost. Now, I don't know if that boost will dissipate the last 2 to 3 weeks before the election. In all honesty, the election will have a bigger impact on the market than stimulus will. So plain and simple, stimulus could be something to jumpstart or give us a catalyst in our market, but I doubt it's going to be what we saw in the past. Short answer, something does look like it's going to get passed. It's time to rip off that protection and let's see another 5 to 7% up to then get it back on and be off to the races for earnings in the election. Our market, kind of kind of sucks. I mean, let's face it. Our market's nothing to brag about right now. If we take a look at where we're at today, still can't get over that 50-day or do it convincingly. Nope, still 20 off, it looks like. As we talked about Apple the other day, because someone asked me, they said, hey, again, how did you know? I love that question because it makes me feel like I can outguess the market. We got our doji. It was down, but it's holding the 200. I'm really thinking about, we have our Apple split. I'm really thinking about taking some protection off at the end of the day tomorrow. The reason why I would do that is because we're at the end of a quarter. We'll probably have a bit of a sell-off and rebalancing, which means Thursday and Friday we should have some buying back in. Common sense, nothing too exciting about it except for the fact that Apple is holding the 50-day simple moving average. Again, the S&P was not. The S&P was not holding it, trying to get over. The NASDAQ is also barely holding it. Down day and up day on Thursday, I got to take some protection off and let things rebound. All right. Where are we at? I put Kramer's article in because I felt the same way. Thank goodness we're out of September. But we have a lot going on this week. We have McCormick, Micron, and Micron was today. PepsiCo, some pretty good earnings coming up. But this brought me to the question that someone asked, what if you had money to invest? Because there's a lot apparently sitting on the sidelines. I don't know how a lot is sitting on the sidelines. I don't see it. But there is some money sitting on the sidelines where people are moving out of fixed income. They're moving out of REITs. They're moving out of the oils or energy as a whole. There's some pretty big movements out of commercial real estate right now. There's some movements out of retail. So there is a lot of cash apparently from the selling off and getting out of some items, which shows or explains some of the movements we've seen in certain sectors. But what if you had money to invest? You have to take the market conditions into consideration. So you have to take market conditions into consideration, right? Possible stimulus. Worst month historically in the S&P. Volatile due to pre-election, right? What else can I say here? Earnings start middle of October. In fact, second week, let's just put second week of October is the, come on, financials. A lot of the banks for that second full week of October. So here we go. Another thing to consider, short options month for expiration. What do I mean by that? We have the second on Friday. On the 16th, we have options expiration. which gives us a 5-week monthly options expiration between October and November, which could mean good idea to sell some monthly calls starting, the week after the 16th options expiration on the 19th. That would be a way to get going and a way to do it. So, what could you do? I mentioned non-directional or protective puts. But I thought of something else. As I thought about that, I thought, you know what? That was more or less the answer I gave was more or less protected puts or nothing, right? And I gave all the reasons why. But I felt like that was a fearful way to attack the market. It was maybe not the best. So what might I do to change that? If I was looking at some trades, I would be doing some deep in the money covered calls right now. I would try to get something for these 4 weeks before the election. That simple. If I was looking at something like Apple, I'd try to see if I could pick up 100 shares, go out to October 30th. I want to be called away. If I did a 105, wow, so that's pretty interesting. If I did a 105 and got called away, I would actually get roughly $2.32. $2.32 of credit. Maybe even a little bit more. 105, the mid is 102. So we're going to say somewhere between 232 to 246, right? For a $102 investment. If I could do the math on that, or just work on the math, 2.32 divided by 102.68, it's a 2.2 return on Apple. Now, let's see what 2.2% return that is. If we did just 100 shares, for crying out loud, give me one quick second. Can't go through everyone. Let's go to the Hurley. Okay, I'm going to set up the same trade. Sorry about that. One 2.2% return. I'm going way in the money at 105. So a 2.2% return on 10,000 is $220, $232 roughly. as a percentage basis, it's not bad. But if you had $10,000, I was looking at, and I chose Apple because I looked at the chart already. I would be looking for a level of support that Apple could come down to. And I chose the 105 because that was the most recent low. It was that simple. Well, Kevin, I don't have $10,000. I've got $5,000. Okay, let's try something like Micron. And I'm choosing Micron because Micron just had their earnings today. And I'm pretty sure, as I'm checking, their earnings were not good. They're down $1.97, down 3.8%. But their most recent low was here at 42. If you were to look at something like Micron, where now you're only going to do $4,200. After hours, it's down at 48.74. Same thing. Going down to 42. Your mid price for this one is even better. It's $39.36. If you're selling at 42, there is $2.64. $2.64. If you do 264, 264 divided by 39.36. Dang it, I did something wrong. 246 divided by 39.36. You're looking at a 6.7% return. Now, this is more likely to expire in the money because it could go down to 40. So if you wanted to be a little bit safer and for less of a return, you can knock it down to 40 and put your midpoint at 37.5. This would be the smarter play right here. Well, Kevin, why would that be the smarter play? Yes, most recently, it got down to 42, but I'm now looking at, well, 41, 32, 50, 32 and a quarter. So I'm playing like the fourth low right there. But at 41, I don't know, it's because you want to get into cash and have your cash available if things are going to pot. So literally, I'd be looking for cheap positions. We could also take a look at something like a Bank of America. Kevin, I don't have $4,000. Bank of America. 22.95, 22.95, 22, 20, 19. Trading at 23, I'd probably go down to 20. What could we get for Bank of America? Gonna get called out at 20. 1985, that's only 15 cents. That one doesn't work. Taking a look at Key Corp, where I'd also go down to 10. $9.80, that's 20 cents. So actually, I'm basically saying banks would not work in this scenario. Let's take a look at FCX. 15. I don't, off the top of my head, I don't know where FCX is. Well, it's right on it. 1144 is the 200 day. So I do 1150. That doesn't work at all. Look at that one. That is really, really messed up. To sell to 1150 and your midpoint would be 1164. Guarantee you'd lose 14 cents. So, short answer, this is what I would go through. If I had extra money sitting around, technology is probably going to work better. But you pick the stock, you look at the three most recent support levels, and you head on down. You try to find something in the money that can get you out pretty quickly. And there you can put your money to work for a 2.2%, even a little bit more on the Micron. Just some thoughts to put money to work and to see where you can end up. With that said, any questions for tonight? Any questions you guys have for me tonight? All right, guys, deep in the money covered calls, something you could put some money to work on and get a pretty good return on. It's just something to think about. Have a wonderful evening. I appreciate you showing up. I am sorry for the problem with scheduling. And just as a heads up, Thursdays is being moved to Friday at 10 o'clock. Have a good evening. Enjoy the debates, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.